Welcome to this Drupal video. In this video, we will talk about how to create links of different kinds between different kinds of pages in your own website and to other websites. We will also insert images into your page, and we will talk about how do you create a link to a document such as a PDF for the user to be able to view. When we talk about links, there are three different kinds of links to discuss. The first is a link within your own website, so a link to another page within your own website, which is called an internal link. The second kind of link is to an external page, to a page on another website, so another department in City and County of San Francisco, for example, or a totally external site of some kind. A third kind of link that we'll create ultimately will be within your own page again, but this time working with long content pages where you want to allow the user to link and move around within the page itself. A very common link of this type is link back to the top of the page, for example, when you have scrolled quite far down some long content. So let's do the internal link first. I'm going to select some text, this phrase first sentence, for example, and I'm going to link to another page in this training website. And the one I'm going to look for is in the news, ultimately is where I'm going to go, but I want to show you how to search for that. So once I select my phrase, the second to last button on the right side of my toolbar is my little link to content button. And that brings me essentially a search dialog box where I have a chance to talk to Drupal and ask it to search for a phrase, or if I know the particular name of the page, I could type that in more detail. But if I just type in news here, for example, I get all the pages that use the word news somewhere in the page title. Now I want this one called in the news, so I'm going to click on that. Drupal drops in a link URL and it refers to this page as a node. Don't worry about that. The user will not end up seeing that. Drupal will alias that in a more user-friendly way, but I just wanted you to know what that means. It's really just Drupal's filing system, how it's referring to the pages in the filing system. So let me insert that link. And now when I click away from that text, it is blue. It's got some different formatting on it to show me that it is a link. Do be aware, though, I'm not going to be able to test the link when I'm still here editing my page. I need to save the page content first. Then when I'm in drafts mode or needs review state, then I'll be able to test my links. The next type of link to talk about is an external link to another website within City and County of San Francisco, or another site altogether. And in this case, I have some text here for the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development. I have that website open on another tab in my browser. I brought the browser window down from being maximized so you can see the different tabs. But I didn't just go directly to that home page. I actually went to a page for a program within that website, because I wanted to show you, let me click up here. I wanted to show you how Drupal will handle the aliasing of those nodes that we saw before. That, remember, the in the news page said node and then whatever the number was. I wanted you to see that the user got a user-friendly version of that page alias, basically. And the reason why I brought this page up, if I wanted to have this link go directly to the Affordable Home Buyer Programs page here, is because I find this is the easiest way to create the external link. I bring up the page exactly that I want to go to. I highlight the text, the URL, the address up at the top. I right-click and copy that. Come back to my own page, and then the way I'm going to create the link on this text is not going to be the button on the far right as we did before. It's an external link. So it's a button in the middle of the toolbar that looks like little links on a chain and is called link when I hover over it. And when I click on that, I get a link for the URL. I'm going to right-click in that text box and paste in my URL that I copied. And then I'm going to click on the tab called Target, because one of my options that I have when I'm making a link to an external site, a whole other site beyond my own department's website, is I want to open a new window in the browser so I don't lose the traffic off my own department website. So new window, or underscore blank as it's called here as well, means that the browser will open a new tab in the browser when I click on this link. And when I say OK, and I click away from my highlighted text, again, that text has the formatting that says that it is a link. The third kind of link to create is called an anchor link, and that is a link the user can use to navigate around a long document. And it has two parts. It has the destination, what is called the anchor, and then it has the text that becomes the link in the page itself. So in this case, I want to make a link to the top of the page. I have my cursor blinking before the H of hello. When I click on my flag button in my toolbar, it's in the middle of my Drupal toolbar, I get the anchor dialog box where I get to name the anchor. Now, some rules for anchor names are they must be all lowercase and not have any spaces. So I'm going to call my anchor name top. And when I say OK, Drupal will create an anchor represented by a flag symbol for me where the anchor is located, the destination is located that I want my text to link to. So now I will scroll down to the bottom of my page. I see my text link to top. I'm going to highlight that just like we did before for creating the link. I'm going to actually use the same link button, but a different choice in the dialog box. So we used this before to link to the URL, the external website. Now I'm going to click on the button next to URL and choose link to anchor in the text. And when I choose that choice, the dialog box itself changes. So now I can click on the down arrow under by anchor name and choose top and say OK. And when I click away from my linked text here, it again is formatted to show me that it is a link. My final link that I want to show you is how to make a link to a document, such as a PDF that the user might be able to download or a form they can look at and fill out online. And in this case, I have the PDF already uploaded, so I'm going to click up here in my first paragraph at the end of my first sentence, and I'm going to use my button on the end, another new button, my button on the end of my toolbar on the far right called Add Media. And when I click on that, this is a dialog box I could use to upload a file, but in this case, I'm going to use the Library tab because I have already uploaded the PDF. And I've navigated already to the folder. It's in my Documents folder in the instructor. And I want this document called supportingdocument.pdf. So I choose it. I'm going to scroll down to the end of the dialog box and click on the Submit button. And I submit once. I get a chance to double check, is this the right document and things like that? It is. So I'm going to click on the Submit button again. And now everything is what I want. So that is what I'm going to save. I have my link to my internal page in my site. I have my link to my external site. I have my link to my supporting document. And then here's the anchor next to hello. And at the end of my document, here's my link back to the top, which is my link to my anchor. So now I'll scroll down. I'm using my outer scroll bar to scroll all the way down to the end of the Drupal page so I can see the Save button. I'm going to save my page so I can test the links. So now let's talk about how do you add images to your page. And as part of that process, we'll talk about how do you upload the image as well. So the first thing to do is to click on New Draft, because I previously published my page. Oh, and I should point out I went back to having my window maximized as well. That's why the little jump in the video again. And I would like this image to go between paragraphs 2 and 3 here. So I'm going to scroll down, click at the end of the second paragraph and hit Enter. And now I'm going to use the same button we used before for the PDF, the Add Media button on the far end of the Drupal toolbar. And I'm going to click on the button now to choose the file that I would like to upload. So it could be a PDF or it could be a document such as an image, which is the purple. Choose File and find my file. Put it on my desktop so it's easy to find. And I have a little courtroom scene, for example, that I might want to open. So I choose the file and then I click on the Upload button. And the file will upload. And then I'm going to say Next. And in the next choice, I get to do two things. I get to give this alt text, right? That was one of the required choices for accessibility purposes, that you must always have alternate text for any user who is having the screen content read aloud to them by a screen reader tool. So I'll put a little description of the picture. And then the additional step I get to do here is double check the folder that this upload is going to. So it's at the root folder at the moment, and I want to actually change that. So I'm going to click on the down arrow. I'm going to find the way they've divided these files on the class training here is not in the way you might in a regular website, because we have different users. We divided them up into documents and images, and then within each we have different users. So I'm going to click on the images folder and then find, oh, not quite yet, click find within images the instructor, because that's where I want to upload my file. And then click on save, and Drupal will upload the JPEG to where I've asked it to go. It shows me a little preview of what it will look like and the name of the file. And again, I get to confirm the alt text for it. And I'm going to click the submit button, and now my image shows on my document. I can right click on the image, and I get choices for image properties. So we get choices such as height and width. The height and the width is pretty good of this image. It's just like a little thumbnail sketch that I have here. But can you see the text showing here, how it's wrapped right next to this text? I might want a little H space, it's called horizontal space, between the image and the text itself. And I would also like an alignment. I would like the image to be on the left and this paragraph below it to wrap up next to it. So if I choose left, you can see how the image itself will wrap, the text will wrap around the image. And when I say OK, now my image is on the left. I have a little space, little horizontal space, H space between my image and my text in my document. And that's how you upload an image and bring it into your document. Again, if the image was already in my library, I would just use that same Add Media dialog box, but use the Library tab as we did before for the PDF.